This is the Four-Man Rush. Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to another podcast of the Four-Man Rush. I'm your host, Timmy V.O., here with Kevin, Larry, and Will. And we're here to talk about some Panther football. Well, we're going to talk about the Panthers and football and mental health. All right, that's going to be the topic today. As most of you guys and gals know, there's been, some I guess you can say some stirring up in terms of, Kwame Brown and him dealing with issues on and off the court, primarily off the court, the press and things of that nature. And the tennis star Naomi and dealing with issues and pressure and things of that nature, and we're going to tie that into the mental health and of some Carolina Panthers players. One Shaq losing his mom, and that's a traumatic experience for him, obviously, and poor Kelvin Benjamin comes to mind in that aspect. And we're going to talk about that and dive into our own experiences, because we all played the sport and dealt with issues and know people who've dealt with issues. And that's something that really isn't talked about that much as it should be. I mean, we can talk about the NFL and its commission that it was doing to help NFL players, dealing with the brain injuries and things of that nature. So, yeah, we're digging in some real stuff, man. And we're going to tie it into Panther football as always. And we're really glad you guys are with us tonight. Recording live, of course, on Facebook, Twitter fans. What's up? What's good? Glad you guys are around. And before we get started, shout out to Manscaped, sending the flag for the Four-Man Rush. They still holding it down, man. If you guys haven't jumped on board, and as a matter of fact, they have a new trimming device out now, man. It's a 4.0. It used to be a 3.0. Now it's a 4.0. And it's even better than ever. So if you guys can go over to manscaped.com, www.manscaped.com, and use that code. As always, a 4MRScaped20. You use that code and get 20% off on your product, and you get free shipping coming straight to your house. You can check out the ball toner. You can check out the ball deodorant, the cologne. They have a nice smooth razor that really shaves well on your face, man. They have the total package when it comes to male grooming. So that's Manscaped. www.manscaped.com. Use that code, our code, 4MRScaped20, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping, courtesy of Manscaped. It's like that. So, hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. The Four-Man Rush is on the scene. Larry, we'll start with you, man. We'll just we'll talk about the issues that's going on with mental health and things of that nature, but I mean, have you heard about the Kwame Brown situation, and well, how you feel about that, man? And what do you think provoked Kwame to bring that in? And we'll tie in the Panther players to that.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the Kwame Brown situation. I know a lot of people will say, you know what, you're getting paid millions of dollars. Shut the F up, deal with whatever the fans have to say. At the same time, I realize guys are human. What I was going to do tonight is just get a little bit more personal with the Carolina Panther family.
No doubt.
And I'll go to a guy like Kelvin Benjamin. We always made fun of him saying that he stayed at Bojangles, he was lazy, he didn't work out. But I don't think people actually look at the obstacles he's overcome. His father was out of his life since he was 2 years old. He got deported back to Jamaica. He had to repeat third grade. He had to repeat seventh grade to the point where he didn't graduate high school till he was 20. So that's a lot of obstacles to overcome. And, just to make it to get a scholarship to go play football and eventually get drafted by the Panthers. I mean, I think that guy is pretty mentally strong, even though, when you look at his actions, you might think that comes off as weak. For example, when he had the conflict with Cam, he went public. He always was really outspoken. Once he left the Panthers, he spoke bad about us. But those actions don't don't exemplify a masculine man, in my opinion. Not knocking him, but just understanding his circumstances, understanding he was raised by his mom. It's kind of like LeBron James. A lot of people make fun of him. I'm not the biggest fan, but if you really pay attention to them, like when you compare Michael Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, they say that Kobe and Jordan are killers and LeBron isn't. They say Kobe and Jordan are cold blooded and they're tougher and LeBron isn't.
Mm-hmm.
However, just look at the circumstances. Kobe and Jordan had their fathers in their lives.
Yeah,
LeBron is the only one that doesn't. So when he
mm-hmm.
walks off the court, 5 minutes to go in the game, when he does some of his antics like flopping and crying, I kind of understand where that comes from. He was missing something coming up. Same thing comes to Kelvin Benjamin. When you really look at it, this man always had his mom. When his mom left his life, it seems like his character changed. It was a void. So I really understand where he's coming from. I wish a lot of fans were a little bit more sensitive to the situation. I think people should applaud him because he's still trying. He had a tryout with the Giants. He hasn't given up on his dream, but just understand that he's not going to overcome obstacles the same way as everybody else does. He's not going to overcome obstacles the same way we expect him to. He's from a different breed. He had a different line of circumstances he had to deal with. So I just think that when it comes to these athletes, we as fans, if you want to critique them, that's fine, but keep it about sports. Leave the off the field stuff alone, bro. Like you don't know what anybody is going through. People will be sad if an athlete wake up and kill himself. We've seen that happen before with Junior Seau. So leave the people personal life out of it, man. Stick to sports. You want to critique how they act on the field, fine. But when it comes to getting in their personal life about their weight issues and all of that, leave that shit alone, bro. That's just not fair. And it goes for Kwame Brown. Like nobody knows what he's been through. I respect that man because he's been quiet for over 10 years, hasn't said a thing, and now he's speaking up, and I respect him for it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people didn't expect Kwame to come out like that, man. They kind of wish they kept their mouth shut now. uh, Will, how's your thoughts on this, man? And you tie in Kwame and Naomi and however you want, man.
I think what you gotta start with is, job specific performance and keep it to that. I mean, think about all of us go through job criticism. You go through it from your managers, you go through it from your coworkers. You're always answering to somebody, whether you own your own business, you answer to customers. If you're, a high level CEO, you're answering to your board of directors and shareholders. So you always have a customer who's less knowledgeable than you about what you do that's going to be critiquing your job performance. And that just keeps you motivated and trying to keep always be on your toes. So I think football specific job criticism is fair, and we have to just keep stay in our lane and keep it at that. Christian McCaffrey has a bad game, or Shaq Thompson has a bad game. The Karens will start. We want to talk to the manager. We're not happy with what we see in here. We want to talk to the manager. We want better. So that's always going to be a part of the game. I think the stuff that goes above and beyond that is kind of where I have a problem. When you see Russell Westbrook, I saw fans dump popcorn on him, throwing beers at players, throwing bottles. Somebody in the New York Knicks spit on Trae Young or spit at him. I
Wow.
think things like that is where it's starting to go too far. I think that the social media era is giving people a platform to kind of talk behind computer screen and hide and kind of throw jabs and go in players' DMs. I saw one fan was in Robbie Anderson's DMs the other day asking him why he's not at voluntary OTAs. I mean, keyword voluntary, right? So, I mean, and you're not gonna, and these people, they're not going to say this. You wouldn't say this to a player in person. So why would you say something online behind a computer screen, behind the comfort of your own home that you wouldn't say to that guy in person? You're not going to go to Liberty City and talk trash about Teddy Bridgewater the way you do online. You're not going to go to Robbie Anderson's hood in Fort Lauderdale and talk trash to him like that in person. You're not going to go to Belle Glade, what we call the muck, where Kelvin Benjamin's from, and talk to him in that manner, face to face in person. So, why do you feel comfortable doing it online when you're not going to do that? That's not what you're about as a person in real life. And another thing is, I mean, these guys have sons, daughters, aunts, uncles. nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, moms, and dads. They got to go online, look at their family member, and see his face plastered on a Bojangles biscuit commercial going viral. I mean, and see all the slandering and nasty comments about their family members, can't even, surf the internet, probably have to mute their name. And I think it just gets out of hand. I mean, what is being a fan really about? Did we just enjoy the game? Do we want to watch great performances? Critique bad performance as well, to, have something to talk about Monday morning? Or are we just going to be a bunch of online bullies making memes, cracking jokes, and, destroying guys' mental health, not knowing what they're going through when we're making these comments? I just think fans in general need to be more mature overall and just kind of think from a different perspective that these aren't robots. We're not controlling these guys with Madden PlayStation or Madden PS5 controllers. These are real men, real feelings. Some go through depression, some have family issues, and you just never know what they're going through. So, I think my favorite example is the Allen Iverson practice rant. My favorite basketball player of all time. The practice rant came from, he was like, look, my best friend just died. I'm going through a lot with my family, and we're sitting here talking about practice. This is irrelevant right now to me. I got other bigger things on my mind. They cut that whole part of his speech out and just focused on the clip to make it go viral. Yep. And now you're just seeing the media trying to bully him and paint him as a guy that didn't work hard, didn't have heart, wasn't interested, a diva. And, just took that one clip from his speech where he even explained himself in the same interview, but they cut that part out. And I just think, the media is always looking for a story. Fans are always looking for that viral, disrespectful, savage comment to get thousands of likes and retweets, and all at the expense of these men's mental health and, stability. So it's just something I think fans, media overall have to do a better job of in covering sports. Learn more about the game so we can stay in our lane and talk about that and not have to get into these guys' personal lives.
Well said, man. Well said. Kevin.
Yeah, well, as far as me personally, this subject is definitely something that hits home for me. Just share a little bit about myself before I tied into the Panthers. Many of y'all know. For those that don't, I'm currently a disabled Army veteran. Proudly served this country. Got injured. Spent a year in Walter Reed recovering from paralysis from the neck down. And needless to say, going through an experience like that really, really affected me mentally, especially at the age of 20. I went in at 24. I was there for years. I came out at 25. So, to go through an experience like that, being told that you may possibly never walk again was really something that put my mind and my head in a space that I'd never been before. And it just really frightened me. Luckily, I had good support and a strong spiritual background of, beliefs and principles that allow me to, recover and make it through. But, once I got out, and became a part of the VA for vets, I immediately began to seek help, seek a therapist. And I'm still currently to this day seeing that same therapist that I got up with back in 2006. So, this aspect of mental health is something that I can definitely relate to. And, it's something that's needed. And we keep it 100 around here, Tim. So I just say it like this, by us being a Black-owned small business, we know that in the Black community especially, when you bring up mental health, the stigmatism or the belief is, oh, I ain't crazy. And, we'll side sweep it off, and just manhood in general, you can't show no signs of weakness. You can't cry. You can't, that's not being a man. You suck that shit in and you keep going. And, a lot of us grew up with that, so it took time, particular for me, over a period of time to evolve to the point where I felt comfortable enough to let my guard down in order to get help because I carried around um, a lot of those misconceptions and beliefs, about what it is a man should and should not say when it comes to mental health. So that's just a little bit about me and my background. Matter of fact, I got an appointment next week, virtual on call, due to the pandemic with my therapist. So yeah, so it's actually kind of ironic. But just to tie this in a little bit to the Panthers, don't know if many of you guys remember, probably do, but back in 2018, Steve Smith, Steve Smith came out. I think it was like August 2018, and revealed that he had bouts with depression while playing with the Panthers. Saying he felt trapped, inferior, and alone, and he spoke out about deaths that really affected close to him, suicides, and his good friend, Brian Dawkins, battled depression and, thought about, suicide himself. And, Steve Smith really, opened it up. And that ended up leading to the Panthers becoming the first team to hire a full-time in-house therapist, that's available strictly for the team. Her name is Tish Guerrerin. She's at the time 2018. She's 35. She's a graduate of the University of South Carolina, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she got a master's. If I read up correctly, I think at Winston-Salem State University, one of the HBCUs. I have to do a little bit of digging here, but yeah. So the Panthers were the first one to put a spotlight more on the mental health aspect, of the team. And one of the cool things, and she's still with the team right now today. This was something that Marty Herney, Ron Rivera, and former Panther player who's in the front office as well, Mark Carrier, they went up to Mr. Tepper and suggested that, and Tepper was all in. It was a no-brainer. She has her own office. She's there for not only just the players, but anybody on the staff. And she's under the guidelines of HIPAA, so anything that's shared related to her, it doesn't go no further. It's not like, she goes back and tell the coaches or anybody in the front office what was, shared and revealed. And I think that's a very important aspect to have, to feel like that, if I'm a man and I'm willing to open up and share my vulnerability, that it's not going to be thrown up in my face. So I'm proud to be a fan of a team that was a trendsetter when it comes to taking a step towards identifying, mental health and why it's important to, to let you know what's going on inside. And like I say, just for me, from a personal aspect, I can definitely relate to everything said by Larry and Will about, how, words from others can, when they start speaking about your life personally, can, say and trigger some things, and, it can cause reactions that, people be like, whoa, where did that come from? So I truly can relate on that aspect of it. But, I'm just glad that this is, being brought to the light, and I think it's something that I hope continues to evolve to a level where players particularly, and just people in general, will feel comfortable about, seeing a therapist, going to, feel comfortable enough to share what's going on. I'm a witness to it. It works. It helps. And I'm, like I said, I've been seeing mine for coming up on 16 years now. So definitely it's something that's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, I'm glad you spoke on that, man, because there's a big stigma, especially about seeking help, especially from a black male standpoint. We normally don't ask for help. I mean, that's just something we don't. that's how it was in my house, man. You don't expect people to, you don't expect to ask for help, and if you get help, great, but you don't just go out and you take care of things, man. You man up and get it done. You gotta. Same thing happens with mental health. I kind of feel bad that I didn't even mention this. You know, Ron Rivera when his brother died. You know that affected him, and you know he had that situation with his house and all this other stuff, man, and you know that affected him. You could tell. And I remember we were talking about Shaq. You know when he lost his mom. You know, and his play took a hit. You know, it's just he was very up and down with his play. And I don't think he fully recovered from that. To be honest with you, man. But you know, it's mental health is a serious issue, folks. You know, post traumatic stress disorder. It's real, and it's not just affiliated with combat. It's not just affiliated with being an EMT. It's a traumatic experience is subjective, right? It's based on who you are as a person and how it affects you and how it affects your daily life. So it can be a lot of things, and when it gets to that point, you really don't know what triggers it, but you feel it coming on, and it messes with you. It really does, man. And I agree with you, Smooth, man. You said a lot. People need to be more aware of what you say to people because you don't know. You really don't. Just because these guys are making a lot of money doesn't mean they're just fodder you can just mess with or whatever. Just throw them away and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, I was gonna you was talking about about Shaq. I don't know if y'all remember, but Shaq found out about his mama passing right after we had won the game in London. Yeah. And we know we had that bye week after, so his mom living on the West Coast. As soon as he got back, he went out there, was out there for the bye week, came back, practiced the team, and I think after that we had a West Coast game, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the 49ers game. So it was, yeah, his play definitely changed. And I know, like you said, we can speak about the football aspect of it. Because some players are, some people look at other examples of players, dealing with trauma differently. Like when Brett Favre's father passed away right before that Monday night game against the Raiders. And he went out there and had like a career night, like 5-6 touchdown passes or something. And people be like, oh, he handled it. Why can't others, still? Well, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't cut from the same cloth, and just because they're not doesn't mean that they're a weaker person or anything. Like, it's people can front and mask a lot behind these firewalls, the same stuff, and make it lead to beyond. But when tragedy hits somebody, we have no right to tell them how they should grieve, how they should cope or handle, because you just you have to find your own way.
Yeah, I want to get back to something Tim mentioned about how you always hear the phrase, well, they get paid millions of dollars to be able to handle those issues. I think the problem with that, you can't buy better mental health. I mean, you can have all the therapy and everything you want, but money isn't going to make your depression or your mental health or whatever you're going through in your personal life go away. So I think that's kind of a cop-out. And I don't know if people are just envious of the kind of money these guys make or what that has to do with it, but I just never liked that type of response. I saw the tennis player when she was taking a break. Now, one people in the media are saying, oh, she was making millions and millions of dollars to play a game. She just have to shut up and play and deal with it on her own. It's like they have to, because they make so much money and they're good at what they do, they're not allowed to speak up and be open about these issues. And I think that's a big part of the problem right now.
Good points, man.
I'll go to you look at Deion Sanders, there's very little to critique about what he did on the field. First ballot Hall of Famer. But if you do a little research about him, that man was contemplating suicide for whatever reasons. So it's very important just to understand that people are human. I want to touch on what Kev said. First off, I thank you for your service. I thank you for what you did for our country. I have a brother that's currently active in the Army. He's a bomb specialist, EOD. And one thing that he's always told me is that his transition to joining the military and being deployed,
Mm.
he appeared to be a lot tougher and more being able to withstand things than others because of the environment he came from. So when I tell you about that, I'm from basically Newark, New Jersey, but we're from a small town surrounding it called Irvington. Very high violent crime rate. We have friends that were killed around the ages of 15 and 16 when we were kids. And just that environment. I know a lot of NFL players, a lot of black people in general grow up in urban environments
Mm-hmm.
where they have to deal with the same thing that you deal with when you're overseas, like hearing gunshots, seeing your friends get killed, being shot at,
Mm-hmm.
leaving the house every day, just having to make a choice if you want to illegally carry a gun to protect your life or do you want to protect your freedom? Because in a lot of places, you don't get both options. I can speak to that. I had to move to a whole different state just so I could feel comfortable to carry a weapon to protect myself. Because where I'm from, it don't matter if you carry it or not. People are going to try to get at you. I have friends that died, so I deal with that too. And I also have a therapist that I've been seeing for over a year now. It was due to a bad breakup. I was in a long relationship, but that
Right.
took a toll on me. Being a father,
Right.
um, working, going to school, just had a lot on my plate. So
Mm.
I too have no problems admitting that I see a therapist to this day. So a lot of us deal with it. I think a fun fact is that within the black community, over 70% of us suffer from some type of mental illness that's not even diagnosed. We don't even know about it. So remember, these guys are football players, but they come from the same environments we come from. Let's keep it football. Let's keep it basketball. Let's keep it sports. When it comes to critiquing them, don't get into their personal life. I have to stand on that. Like, stop getting personal with these guys because you never know what people are going through.
Right. Right. And I'm afraid that envy does come into play when it comes to some of these fans. They just don't know how to relate because of wow, they make a lot of money. Yeah, and that's great. But like Will said, man, you can't buy mental health. It's a process, and it's a process for different people to engage and overcome that situation. Um, relationships that's a great point, Larry. I mean, you have a lot of these players. They might make millions of dollars and get hooked up with some of the most beautiful women out there. Blah 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 blah. But sometimes them ladies will play them. And that'll creep into their mind and kind of mess with their game a little bit if they let it. That some of them have children before they even get into the league, and that schedule, being away from your kids and things of that nature, that wears on you. In some cases with these players, man. And so, folks, please, understand their people. They've been blessed with a gift. They made it through. Lord knows, we've all been through high school. If you don't watch yourself in high school, you're not gonna make it out of high school. But they made it through high school. They got through college. They're in the pros. I mean, that's a lot to overcome. They're under a microscope 24/7, especially these the high caliber players and things of that nature. And compare contrast if you like. Chris McCaffrey doesn't necessarily have to worry about some of these things. Come from a great family. His dad was a pro. This, that, and the third. Brothers all play the sport. He comes from a great situation. Do we know if he has any issues? Not really. Nothing we could see. But one could say that he comes from a situation that would help him get through things. A great supporting cast, so to say. And then you look at somebody like you mentioned earlier, Kelvin Benjamin. I mean, graduating high school at 20. Didn't have his pops around. This, that, and the third. I mean, it's almost night and day, and we can see from early on what the stages led to these situations, and I find that fascinating, man. But we got to get over that stigma, folks. we all need somebody. You know, go ahead, man.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, Tim, by you also being in the service as well, you probably are aware, every day in the United States, at least 7 veterans commit suicide.
22.
Was 22? Wow. Okay.
No, it's every 22 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Every 22 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, man. So it's, it's real, and just to elaborate, a little bit more, y'all my brothers, we chat all the time since we formed this, but what I just shared, had I not shared it, you guys would have known I've been seeing a therapist. A lot of y'all, when y'all see me, what I'm saying, I'm always, talking football, being petty, shenanigans, foolishness on social media and all that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I learned that, my sense of humor is a part of my therapy. You know what I'm saying? The ability to want to cry and scream for help, but to use laughter as a way of, balancing yourself. That goes into a little bit explaining, one of the ways I, express myself, on social media, because largely I'm a private person. I'm a homebody for the most part. And that's by choice. For me, a peace of mind is priceless. And and when we've all gone through things, situations, they may have been different, but a lot of us done felt similar pain from different situations. And it's just comforting to know that, like Larry just mentioned, he's been seeing a therapist, for over a year. Because I used to wonder, like, what would others think, if they knew. So I just always pretty much kept it to myself. But when this subject came up, it was just like, yeah, let's have this conversation, and not sure how many are still watching, because I noticed the conversation in the chat that kind of dried up, on this subject, compared to if, we was talking more football related. So I don't know if our listeners are speechless or, they're not talking football. Let's, but
just listening. They're just listening.
Oh yeah, it could be just listening. You know what I'm saying? However it works, but yeah, like already been stated, this cyberbullying, taking it beyond sports,
So,
yeah, I mean, anything for a laugh, what I'm saying? But not at somebody's expense, because a lot of us hide our own issues and our own bullshit behind this firewall. Just because somebody's get theirs exposed publicly does not give you the right, to be an ass or a dick towards them, just because, can't nothing really happen to you. So, you got to be careful, with that, because, karma's a funny thing, and you can't say what will or won't happen based on your words or your actions. So, think before you speak, tread lightly, because you never know, you'll find yourself being in the same, what they say, the same thing that make you laugh can make you cry. So we just all have to keep that in mind, even in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, man.
I think a lot of this too is media driven. I mean, you look at, Skip Bayless, he blew up in popularity. He had names like Bosch Spice, calling Chris Bosch a woman, because he had some female. He was raised by women, so he has some kind of tendencies. But that's beyond basketball. There's no need for that in terms of sports criticism and sports analysis. And then it's just, you look at the, I'll take us back to something we're all familiar with, the Cam Newton post Super Bowl interview.
Oh, bro.
He's beaten up, angry that he lost, so he has to get up. And it's part of the job. You got to get up, do an interview after you lost, and, just deal with it like a man. But the media had it set up to where Chris Harris was behind the wall. It was in the wall behind him, and just talking about, we wanted to make him throw. We were going to do this, and that, play cover one, make him beat us with his arm, this, and that. It was Cam sitting there disappointed, trying to do his interview, and has to hear the guy that just defeated him in the Super Bowl talk about how they were able to shut him down and so he just walks off, because as anyone would, because who wants to hear that after just losing the game? And the media just goes on a tear talking about how he's immature. He's, he's not like Peyton Manning, who handles his interviews with class. He's, this, that, and this, that, and the third. And it's like, it's their fault that their poor setup caused that to happen. So, I mean, I think the media just fishing for narratives and clicks and sports talk and trying to get reactions is a big driver in a lot of this as well.
I agree.
And if I can follow it up real quick, to really tie this into the Panthers, I mean, probably one of the most notorious black eyes on our franchise. I just found this article here, looking up Carolina Panthers mental health, and there's a section here about Steve Berline. It says, and I quote, Steve Berline was the quarterback of the Panthers in '99 when Ray Caruth became the first player charged and ultimately convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. And basically, to sum it up, Steve Berline was saying that, had there been this type of access to mental health, back then, he thinks that what happened could have easily been avoided. Just because he said that, just from conversations and just being around Caruth long before, you could tell something was going on. But, we're talking about the late '90s. So, that's still the real macho man era. You don't, can't be going around talking about your feelings or whatever, whatever it may be ailing you. But, he basically was saying that, he says, definitely we all would have benefited from having someone like that in every organization I was a part of. You might think that you're invincible and you don't need it. But now when you look back and reflect, it's something that added a lot of value. So the fact that, the notorious black eye on this franchise by Ray Caruth, to hear a player who was around him on a regular basis tie it into the fact that, mental health has been needed for a long time, this states just how important it is. And you see that if you don't get help and get recognized, it'll put you in situations to do things that, you never thought was possible. You would have chosen to do. And real quick, shout out to him, his graduation season.
Yeah, man.
And his son, Chancellor, just graduated, high school. So, big shout out for him to overcoming all that. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
And looks like he's going to be going off to college too. So shout out to his grandmother, Sharika Adams' mom, who, raised Chancellor and throughout all this. So, definitely want to give props for that, because the odds was probably 1%, when all this happened 20 something years ago. And to be a Panther fan and be around to see that happen, anything's possible,
Amen. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, I don't know if you guys saw, I'll see on the share screen here, for the listeners, it's the CNN article on CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It was found in 99% of deceased NFL players' brains that were donated for scientific research. You guys mentioned Junior Seau and some other players. Aaron Hernandez being one of them, things of that nature. So I just wanted to put that up there. Just remind folks, these guys, football players, obviously pro football players, they've had a lot of hits by the time they get to the pros. So these things take a toll on people. Mood swings, things of that nature, they take a toll. And the NFL has gotten better at dealing with this. I mean, they have been, really trying to get more information out there and get more people involved in understanding it better. So people like Luke Kuechly can have a smooth transition out of the game, and hopefully a healthy transition. And that's another individual we didn't mention. He was getting concussions on the regular. Poor guy. And that affects your game too. I can't imagine being a middle linebacker, especially at that level, and having to worry about how you're going to hit somebody. I mean that has got to affect but Luke kept together as long as he could, man. But he knew when to stop, and I think the NFL and what they've done in terms of CTE kind of geared him towards leaving early, just as a precautionary standpoint. And I think that ties into what we're talking about here too. Mental health is both structural and cognitive, I guess you can say, what you're dealing with as on a day-to-day basis, man. This is great stuff, fellas. I mean, I applaud y'all for sharing your personal experiences with this, man. Like you said, man, this is something we don't talk a lot about in our community. There's a lot of stigma attached to that, and but we're not gonna get into all that. We're not gonna get too deep into that. This is the football podcast. Don't let me get on my soapbox, man. Anyway, oh yo, what's up with the OTAs, man? They just doing their thing. Kev, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, well, from from I've been watching and gathering, so like OTAs for the most part has been nearly full capacity. I think, if I'm not mistaken, like 82 out of the 90 players on the roster have fully participated. From what I'm seeing, take it for what it is. Pads and I mean not pads, but helmets and shorts. Seeing that plays are being made on both sides, offense and defense. So that's what you want to see. From that aspect is, them, getting comfortable, learning each other's timing, learning how to communicate, rhythm, things of that nature. Um, put some athleticism on display, and it's just a lot of my favorite parts so far about OTAs has been the interviews done by the players after, like Brian Burns yesterday speaking out on how he's really excited with this defense. He really feel like that this can, really be a legit top 10 caliber defense. Hearing from him, also from Jeremy Chen speaking out about how's he excited. And I think an article came out right before we came on. I don't know if any of y'all caught it, but I guess it's saying that the Panthers are officially putting Jeremy Chen as safety this year. So he's still gonna be moved around, but safety is going to be his MO moving forward, which I think is a good thing for him. I think that'll prolong his career, lessen the wear and tear of the constant contact that comes with the linebacker. Yeah, he's 6'3", 220, but that's that constant banging, will wear on you. So but overall, I'm just glad that it's football, because now we're in the month of June, so we got mini camp coming up in a couple of weeks. Yep. Then that 6-week layoff, and then folks, next thing you know, we're gonna be talking about live from Camp Wofford. It's the 4-man rush.
Yeah.
So I know I'll be there, and I know Larry discussed about him coming. Will might bless us with his presence too, and a couple other guys in the 4-man rush. So we this time of year, I'm excited. It lets me know that we on the path to getting to that week 1 matchup against the Jet. It's at Bank of America Stadium, rocking and rolling.
Can't wait, boy. Can't wait.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Hey Larry, have you heard any news on Julio, man? Is he gone?
He's definitely trying to get out of there. I think what the Falcons are trying to do is get the right deal for him. I know it was like heating up something that's going to go down with Seattle, but the way the analysts and the fans here in Atlanta feels that they know they're not going to get a first round pick for him, but you have to at least start with first round talk. So people kind of got upset with Seattle talking because obviously Seattle doesn't have a first round pick, so they only talking second round and better. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's gonna go. I heard somebody say that he wants to go play with Cam. I heard the 49ers will be a good suitor for him because he gets to reunite with Kyle Shanahan. But clearly, he just wants to be in the best position to win. I don't care where it is as long as it's out of the NFC South. I can deal with
Unbelievable.
it. That's just how I feel. I hate my rivals, but I gotta respect the hell out of Julio Jones, man. He's a Hall of Famer, first ballot.
Gotta
As soon
be.
as he's done playing, so
Gotta be.
I wish him the best. It would be cool to see him link up with Cam. You get that little Southeast union with Georgia and Alabama going together, but
Mm.
I think he likes New England just because of where he came from. Like he's been under Saban, who has similar coaching philosophies as Belichick. So I think he just wants to be somewhere where he has a chance to win and he's comfortable. But he's definitely leaving Atlanta. I mean, I can't see him playing another snap for Atlanta. So it's just a matter of time.
Yes.
June 1st has passed, so the money
Yeah.
situation will be a little bit better for whoever decides to get him. But that's all I've heard. Same thing that you guys have heard. Nothing exclusive. As far as OTA goes, I mean, I seen a rookie receiver burn Burris one on ones, but who cares about that? Burris is not going to be lined up on the outside against nobody.
No.
People get so excited about the nonsense. Just remember, this guy's a rookie. Let's not be talking this. He's better than Curtis Samuel stuff already. We don't know.
Oh
He's never played
no.
it down in this league. So
Come on, y'all.
what was funny to me is I saw a caption that said something about Sam Darnold hooking up with Dan Arnold, and it was like a tip ball. Like it just gives us so many reasons to be upset. Like what is real? What is Darnold going to really be?
Oh
And I
my
know one
god.
big thing. Last thing.
What's up? What's up?
It's been some trade rumors going on with concerning Robbie Anderson. I think I just want to speak up and say that looks kind of false to me. I think he just chose not to go to OTAs because he's doing what he wanted to do. He's working out on his own. He'll
Mm.
be at mandatory minicamp. People said, "Oh, because we drafted two receivers, his spot is in jeopardy." We usually keep six or seven
What?
receivers. What are you talking about? He's coming off 1,000 yards. He's the man. I'm sure he would love to link up with a guy who helped him get his check, which was Sam Darnold. Helped him get the check with us. So let's just
Facts.
calm all of that down. I think Robbie's here to stay for at least another season. Let's just hope for the best.
Word up. Word.
Yeah, all of that talk, to support Larry a little bit more, all that talk about Robbie Anderson. Folks want to be quick to get rid of wide receivers because his contract is up this year. First of all, he took a discount to come here. Let's start off with that. He left millions on the table. Why? Because of personal connection with Matt Rule.
Mm.
And despite what others, including ourselves, may think of Sam Donald's performance on field, let's got to state on field. So we're talking about on field. Him and Robbie Anderson were pretty much like automatic money. So if the Panthers are potentially looking at, I think they picked up his 5th-year option. If they had that same connection or better this year, with the salary cap blowing up tremendously for us next year,
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that we don't resign Robbie Anderson along with DJ Moore? Where's this rule saying that you can't have but one really good receiver and just average everywhere else? I mean, look at the Chiefs stable. They keep Tyreek
Mm.
Hill, McCole Hartman. Before this year, it's Sammy Watkins. So,
Watkins,
there's
yep.
no rule saying you can't keep 3 or 4 legit threats at wide receiver for longer than a year or two. So,
Mm.
I mean, I know money plays a part, and these young receivers coming out are able to adapt. But if they have a strong rapport, I'm all for. I've said in the chat, I'm all for. Rob Anderson coming back. You know, yeah, like another little deal. Maybe sweeten up a little bit because he did put up numbers for us. But
Yeah.
if they have a strong connection this year, I think Robbie will definitely want to come back. And real quick, since we was talking about salary cap,
Mm.
Larry, I was just looking it up here. Now that it's after June 1st, it reduces the dead cap hit for Atlanta if Julio Jones is traded. it'll drop it all the way down to $7.75 million in dead money on Atlanta's salary cap if they trade him now, since it's June 1st. So that makes who knows what happens now that that's a part of, because at the end of the day we know the math is all that matters.
Can you tell us why we're always top 5 in dead cap? Like, I'm getting a little sick of this. Be honest with you.
Amen.
Top 5 every year. Dead cap, we always top 5. We paying Luke Kuechly right now. Like, what's going on?
I mean,
Hey, for all you fans that's belly aching, get rid of this player. You got to pay the piper. When this player signed and he had guaranteed money, that money is the reason why it's called guaranteed. He's gonna get it.
He gonna get that.
He gonna get it all, socks and the draws. There's no. And then I hear people still throwing up the same old restructure. No. Restructuring is restructuring. That ain't it either. I mean, people throw around terms not really thinking about the ramifications, of what that does. That just pushes the money down. That money still got to be paid. That was one of the reasons why Kawan Short, made over $20 million actually, because he restructured twice. That's like, man, we got cut Kawan. He making too much money. Well, this was his money that was guaranteed, but y'all want to, restructure so we can sign this player and this player and this player. Well, okay, pay the man.
Hey.
Shout out to Stephen Weatherly. He's still getting a check from us this year.
Bruh.
Jesus Christ.
Bruh, don't remind me. But but just to let you know, that money, we sitting at about
$40 million.
Technically $43 million in dead salary cap. I'm actually trying to look up the actual breakdown now.
That's a lot, bro.
To show which players. Let me see. I saw it here. Yeah, man, that's just. Bro, that's just.
When did we stop paying Matt Khalil? Like last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, we just. Let me see.
Khalil, that man was on his couch with his beautiful wife collecting a check.
Yeah. Last year was the last year he got a check from us.
Wow.
So y'all had all them jokes. The joke was really on our books.
Facts. Should be paying that man shit. Yeah, here we are. Man. Well, and see, when is Wofford? They're going to be in Wofford this year again, right?
Yeah, they're going to be in Wofford. Usually the training camp schedule comes out right after mini camp. So in the next possibly 2 weeks we'll know that schedule. And I ain't even gonna lie, I've already put on to my new to my supervisor that hey yo, this PTO that I got, I'm gonna need to be using that come July and August. So y'all know I'm addicted to camp time. You know what I'm saying? I'll be down there with my chair and you know what I'm saying, man. We just we gotta be there, man. We gotta show y'all the real. We ain't gonna just filter out the highlights and say y'all like they be doing on Twitter and stuff, and all y'all talking, oh, he a beast and all this, that, and the third. You
gonna get that logical, factual, credible. That's what you gonna get.
Shout out to our long snapper that was at OTAs. We drafted in the 6th round. Shout out to him. Shout out to Mr. Tremble looking like Antonio Gates in OTAs. Shout out to him too.
Yeah, I heard people talking about Trimble, man. They said he'll hit you, bro. They said he'll melt your face mask.
According to the fan base, he's gonna be a Hall of Fame pass catcher too. So, hey,
man, how about somebody tell our coaching staff that you're not supposed to be doing offensive line one-on-ones in t-shirts and shorts. That's that high school, college stuff.
I mean, what is that?
Very, very ineffective.
What is that stuff?
Focus on the foundation. Focus on the fundamentals. Focus on the very beginning. Like, this is the time to start from scratch. Come into camp or come into OTAs with a blank canvas. No art on you. Just work it up from the beginning. One-on-ones don't help you do that. So it is what it is. That's just like
Ten.
a ego tester. Like, oh, who's better than who?
Right.
Say that for when we put the pads on.
Right.
The only possible explanation I could, and this is probably a reach on my end that I'm thinking of why it may be done, is to see what the players can be critiqued on to improve to get their technique down. Because upon the Joe Brady and Will, you can correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of our blocking is mostly zone blocking, and to be a zone blocking team, it's all about taking the right angles
Mm-hmm.
and
Timing.
that technique, pull, Larry, we know about pull blocking, reach blocks, wham blocks and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that maybe the only reason why he's doing that is just to kind of get a little glimpse to see, what these players' footwork look like when it's engaged, and then, during the timeout they can tweak it, and then when they come to camp, hey, that's about the only reason I could possibly think. But yeah, I'm definitely not a fan because we definitely don't want to, risk any type of, and I ain't even gonna say it. Let me just knock on wood. All in some helmets and some shorts.
I mean, I appreciate you trying to help out the coaching staff and show some support. But trench one-on-ones is usually pass sets. So that zone block shit, we don't really have a reason, Kev. They just out there running. They out there doing it. And it's sad because I mean, I guess you want to maybe pay attention to the footwork in pass sets. You want to know if Brady Christensen can really get the right angles out as a left tackle. Who the hell knows? But I think it's very ineffective. I think you should basically focus on fundamentals. And honestly, they don't help me is because when you actually worried about your punches, your hand placement, that has a lot to do with the pads being on. You're trying to aim at certain pads. So the one-on-ones, they don't really do too much. It's just like an ego thing. It's like who's macho.
Mm-hmm.
And to answer Jason's question about camp, Kev, you want to know when mini camp start?
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now. It says here. Let me see.
Are you talking about mini camp or Wofford camp?
Oh, the mandatory minicamp is June 15th through the 17th for the Panthers. So
there you go, Jason.
all right.
June
So the
15th
next
through the
round, the
17th.
last round of OTAs is coming up June 7th through the 10th. So that's 4 days, and then the mandatory minicamp, is June 15th through the 17th. So that's when you're gonna see, Robbie Anderson and all the other players, the other, 8 or 9 players who's not showing up, for whatever reason, unless, like I said, it's medical or they got excused or whatever. So yeah, Panthers mandatory minicamp is June 15th through the 17th. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see. That's on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Thursday. So that's the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before Father's Day weekend.
Word. All right. Well, Panther fans, I guess we covered everything. I mean, again, there's not much going on right now, but whatever it is that's going on, you want to hear it from us straight up, no chaser. Dig it. You guys have any parting shots?
Keep pounding, Panther Nation. Keep pounding.
Yes, sir. Well said. Sure.
As always, thank our fans. And want to shout out my boy Smooth. I know we're talking football, but it is NBA playoffs.
Playoffs.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? When my man talk about Trae Young, he got the receipts. He been talking about this man for what, 3 years now. So don't label my man no bandwagoner just because he live in Atlanta. He not a Hawks fan. He just a Trae Young fan. So
Big
Right.
Trae Young fan, man. I told you he was a killer. That's why he
let's
wanted to listen.
yeah. So let's get that right. Our own Vince Holmes. Shout out to you, Vince. I know you hurting right now.
What's
I
up,
told
Vince?
you Hawks in 5. You know what I'm saying? Kev Adamas. I said that back on May 24th. I showed my receipt yesterday.
Yeah.
But real talk, hell of a game on right now. Denver, Portland, 110-108, 5:29 left. Portland was up 20 in the third quarter. Denver came back on them. So yeah, it's Yeah, so shout out to our NBA heads. That's also Panther fans.
Right on.
And speaking of basketball, get ready to watch the Phoenix Suns try to close out LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Adam Silver, the entire referees, and everybody else trying to make sure the Lakers live through this Game 7. So good luck, Suns.
Let's go. Let's go. Arizona, Phoenix. Let's go.
Oh, you mean Game 6, ain't it? Ain't it Game 6, Will?
Oh no, they're gonna make sure it goes 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna make sure they're gonna stretch that out. Viewers and all that other shit. You gotta get those ratings, baby. You gotta get them ratings.
Can't have the Lakers and Clippers losing in round 1.
Oh, the Clippers are done.
Bro, the road team done won every game in that series, bro. It's crazy.
Bruh. Your man's a killer too, by the way. My man from Dallas.
Luka, man,
bruh. He's a wizard with that rock, bro. He's a wizard with that rock.
He dropped 42 points and 14 assists.
But stop. God. Whew. Anyway. All right, man. So, Panther fans, be on the lookout for news and updates via the 4-Man Rush when it comes to our website, www.the4manrush.com. Of course, we got mandatory camp coming up, Wofford camp coming up, all this stuff. Hopefully, those press credentials will come through, and we'll have the fellows out there getting that live data, man. So we get that live stuff, man, so we can manipulate our own flavor and put that out for y'all, man, because it's gonna be unlike anything else you've seen. I guarantee you that. But yeah, fans, be on the lookout. Of course, engage us on social media as always, and we should be recording here in another week or so, and just stay on top of things, man. So on behalf of Will, Larry, and Kevin and myself, thank you guys once again. Appreciate you guys. 4-Man Rush is rocking it, and it's because of y'all. Plain and simple. So, again, take care of yourself. Be wary of what you say to people. Mental health is an important thing. And as always, keep pounding. Believe that.
Right, y'all take it easy, B.
Appreciate you, Larry.
All right, man. Catch y'all in the chat.
All right, Will.
All right.
I'm just taking time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. Yeah. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners, and we can go back to my crib and just chill under covers and do we call me and you lovers.
The 4-Man Rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The 4-Man Rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the 4-Man Rush exclusively. Thank you.